Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our May 11th meeting. Call to order, moved by Deputy Mayor Lang, seconded by Councillor Jaworski. Be it resolved that the May 11th, 2026 council meeting of the Township of South Glengarry now be opened at 6:32 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. If you'll all join me in singing the national anthem. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, approval of agenda. Are there any items to change?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there are no amendments to the agenda this evening.
And just to check, no consent agenda items to be pulled? Nope. Okay. Moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Councillor Bougie. Be resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry approve the agenda as circulated. All those in favor? Carried. Approval of minutes. Were there any errors or omissions noted? Seeing none, moved by Deputy Mayor Lang, seconded by Councillor Bougie. Be it resolved that the minutes of the following meeting be adopted as circulated. Previous meeting minutes, April 27th, 2026. All those in favor? Carried. There is no public meeting, so we will get right to action requests. The first one is 2025 Asset Management Plan by Mr. McIntosh, moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Councillor Jaworski. Be it resolved that Staff Report 2026-51 be received and the Council of the Township of South Glengarry approves the updated 2025 Asset Management Plan. Please proceed.
Good evening, through you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome, everybody. As part of the Ontario Regulations 588-17, all municipalities in Ontario are required to have an asset management plan. So this is the final phase of our asset management plan over the last 4 years. This was presented to Council on April 13th by Mr. Kuhn for review. We have taken comments over the last month or 3 weeks and kind of made those adjustments to the plan. So this is as fulfilling our legislative obligations to this reg. This is the final plan for this year. We are hoping to bring this back annually, probably like same time this time every year, and for council's approval. And kind of as the plan morphs into the future, we get better data, better pricing, and that way it's a very living document.
All right, thank you. I do understand that as there was a roads request, that will be used to inform this plan, but will be separate from, but I didn't want to forget that portion of it. Councillor Jaworski, did you have any questions? No? Okay. Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, you're not leaving this yet. That's true. Sorry. Request for alteration of Green Road. Moved by Councillor Bougie, and this one is for Cloverdale. Seconded by Councillor Jaworski. Be it resolved that Staff Report 2026-52 be received and that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry approves the request to clear the unopened road allowance identified as PIN 67117020 west from Cloverdale Road West, limit to 85 meters west in accordance with bylaw 3314, and furthermore, that the general manager of infrastructure services is authorized to enter into an agreement with the applicant for alterations. Please proceed.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Mayor, about a month ago, we received a request from a landowner just west of the west limit of Cloverdale Road for access to his landlocked piece of property to be able to conduct agricultural farming practices. This is as per the bylaw, for any major alterations to the green roads or unopened road allowances, we must come to council. So he is just asked for enough room to get into access to his property as shown in the diagram. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions? We'll go first to Councillor Jaworski, and I saw Deputy Mayor Lang, and then we'll go around.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor McDonald. Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. I just wanted to ask you to elaborate on the landlocked comment. Is this the only access for that piece of property?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, this is the only properties landlocked by our unopened road allowance, as well as a major water body, creek running through the southland of the property. So he farms the south part of the creek, but he would like to have access to the north. So this is the process in which he asks for that permission.
Thank you. Do you have a subsequent question? Okay, Deputy Mayor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. I noticed that in the staff report, it said that staff was not sure about the 12-meter width, would prefer 6 meters, if I remember right. Just so that people are kind of aware, my combine with the, not with the bean head on it, but is 17 and a half, maybe 18 feet wide, just the machine itself. So it's getting to the point where I don't know if 6 meters is, if you clear 6 meters, there's going to be branches and so forth hanging out. So I don't know if 6 meters would be enough to be able to fit, especially with an 8-row corn head on it. You definitely wouldn't get in. So I just think maybe it might have to go wider than the 6 meters. And I will just add that very nice to see people, I think, you know, with a little bit of proactive work on our part, people are coming to us ahead of time and asking rather than just doing these things. So it's nice to see that happening. And I think that's kind of what our green roads are for, is to allow people access to these properties. And, you know, now there'll be a property there that's, you know, putting some income into South Glengarry.
Thank you. Councillor McDonnell.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, along the same lines as the Deputy Mayor, 6 meters isn't wide enough for, as you said, combine, or especially with an 8-row header on, which is legal on the road as it is. I know myself, I wouldn't have a way to get in without with an 8-row head or with my combine without going wider than 6 meters. And nobody wants to be threading the needle and having to constantly trim back the brush every year. I'd be fine if you want to keep some greenery, go to say 10 meters or something along those lines, if that is the concern of maintaining some tree cover on the road allowance, just to acknowledge that we're not clearing right to each property line. But I would think a minimum of 10 meters would be required to get through safely and not be a burden every year to go and try and clean it up. So,
Councillor Bougie.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. McIntosh, for the information. I was kind of along the same lines, and this kind of definitely stood out to me as well. 12 meters being a little excessive, but I feel like Councillor McDonnell has a great idea of meeting in the middle. Is there many mature trees along this path? Because I'd hate to be cutting down mature trees if that's in that kind of wider area over the 6.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, the property or the current road allowance is quite overgrown. It's kind of hard to tell in there if it is much. I'm sure there is. Usually through these agreements, we'll ask that they try and keep any large mature trees as possible, with like striking that balance between access and keeping those like beautiful mature trees.
Councillor Jaworski.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor McDonald. I wanted to be able to hear what my colleagues had to say, particularly those who have more experience with this type of equipment. I think it's reasonable to make it wide enough for the equipment to pass safely. Exactly what that number is, I'm not entirely sure. Sounds like it's more than 6 meters. However, I do think also the comment that Councillor McDonnell said about leaving some greenery on either side, I think that's probably the most important point, because I find in many cases if one side is entirely cleared, then it's just so you see that natural encroachment of the field into the road allowance, into eventually it's completely lost. So I would say at a minimum that there needs to be, yeah, something on either side. And I'm comfortable with leaving it up to staff's discretion on what's reasonable.
Councillor McDonnell?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just to clarify, Mr. McIntosh, if we look at the picture on the screen, we're only really giving access to an entrance, I would assume probably 40, 50 feet. So they're not entirely cleaning the entire length of the field, they're just cleaning an entranceway, essentially. Enough to get, I would assume, equipment through that entrance, and we're not allowing them the entire green road, so just that red highlighted portion.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, that would be the intent, is just enough that they can get their piece of machinery in whatever distance that ends up being. It's around approximately 85 meters from our, our GIS system we've allotted, but we'll work that out with the landowner.
No, excellent. That just, it ensures too that there won't be any farm encroachment anyways on the township-owned land, so.
All right, so it seems like we're in agreement of letting this happen, or not letting, but approving it. That sounds rude to say letting. Then it would be, there was 10 meters. It doesn't say that on the resolution, but I think there's some general guidance to go above the 6 meters to make it safe for passage, so that you don't have to be machine precision to get through. Is that reasonable then to accept this as is with the guidance to make it traversable with some degree of human error? All right, all those in favor? Carried. So the next one is request for alteration of Green Road. This is Spring Creek. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lang, seconded by Councillor McDonnell. And there are two options with this one. I'll read them both. Option A is, be it resolved that Staff Report 2026-53 be received and that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry approves the request to alter the unopened road allowance identified as PIN 6712-40059 north of Spring Creek Road, south of PIN 6712-40083 east of Spring Creek Road to a limit to 590 meters east and 500 meters north of the Spring Creek Road south limit in accordance with Bylaw 3314, and furthermore, that the General Manager of Infrastructure Services be authorized to enter into an agreement with the applicant for the alterations. And then there's an option B. Be it resolved that Staff Report 2026, and this is option B, 53, be received and that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry approves the request to alter the unopened road allowance identified as PIN 6712-40059 north of Spring Creek Road south to a limit of 500 meters north from Spring Creek Road south limit, and PIN 6712-40083 west of Craft Road to a limit of 600 meters west in accordance with Bylaw 3314, and furthermore, that the General Manager of Infrastructure Services be authorized to enter into an agreement with the applicant for the alterations. Mr. McIntosh.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Mayor, sorry for the long resolution. But, so yeah, we had another request from a landowner who has recently purchased another piece of property to the northwest of Spring Creek Road and the Green Road. This applicant previously had an agreement with the township for east and west of Spring Creek Road for about 200 meters to access some other landlocked pieces of property. This was back from 2023, I believe, or around that area. So he's, through some meetings and stuff, he's come again and asked for an alteration to that agreement to encompass, now that he's bought that northwest property, to go a little further north on Spring Creek Road. To allow him to get in with his equipment similar to the previous request. And also, he has asked to go further east to access some of his fields in that direction as well. Through this, staff has also looked at it and come up with, that is where option B came from, kind of proposing where he would already maintain access through the Craft Road end versus going east. So it kind of allows him to, I think, access where he currently has been using the Green Road. So it's kind of formalizing some of those activities as we're, getting to. But yeah, any questions?
Questions? Okay, we'll go Councillor Jaworski, then Councillor McDonnell. Yep.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor McDonald. Just a couple clarifying questions. What's being proposed, if we look, I guess, at the property on the east side of the image, why it needs to go up versus, like, I guess clarifying why that's required if the pink already goes. I mean, it seems, maybe I'm missing that there's some drain there that's causing some issues. So maybe if you could elaborate on that. And then I guess the same thing on the, on the east side. Sorry, I think I said west side before. I meant the west side before, and now this comments about the east side. Does it need, what's being proposed, does it need to go quite so far into the property as opposed to just sort of that western kind of entrance point, similar to like the Cloverdale example that we were looking at earlier? Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So there's actually two properties there in the large square. There's two separate properties there. It just goes over to his closest property. This is basically what he's requested as far as that. It's just to reach each one of his properties. As I said before, it looks like he currently accesses it through Craft Road from the east going west. And to the north, I believe, yeah, there is a little bit of a drain there, I think, that he wants to be able to get on the other side of.
Sorry, thanks for that. I was not following the Craft Road the first time, so now I think I understand it better. You're saying that he's accessing the big block along the unopened road allowance, but coming from the Craft Road side?
I think that's correct. He's coming in from Craft and up to his properties,
Okay.
that big property.
Okay, and sorry, when you were saying that staff had a different proposal, can you just walk me through that again, please?
So staff's B option proposal would be remaining the north, his request to go north a little more with the alteration. But option B would be formalizing him using the Green Road from Craft Road over to his properties going west. So it's not labeled in this diagram, but that's kind of our intent, is just to formalize that agreement of using that Green Road for access to his other two parcels there.
Councillor McDonnell.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just to clarify as well, Mr. McIntosh, he's currently accessing, his current existing access is from Spring Creek Road off the Gore, correct? And then he's going up, but we are proposing the darker color, which is going to formalize what he's already using, or could potentially already use. And it makes sense why you'd want access from both sides, so you're not jumping across or not running the block just to get around with equipment to combine the same field. So I'm fine with what staff's proposing, and best to have it all formalized. Thanks.
Thank you. Are you looking at the map? I don't know if there was some context that might be better provided. So option A is what you see here. Option B is going up, and then Craft Road, coming from Craft Road, formalizing that. That's correct?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, basically option B would be the unhighlighted piece from Craft Road to the highlighted piece going west. So that portion would be kind of option B.
Yes, okay, good. So is that clear to everyone? Just making sure, because, okay. No, okay, can you, so, can,
Yeah, maybe talking a different color for what
Yeah, so
would I say?
pink was his original, sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. The pink is the existing agreement from a number of years ago, where he was accessing both of these properties to get in and farm those properties and do some land clearing. He has since come and asked for the dark purple to be extended.
That's option A.
That's option A, is the dark purple. Option B would be keeping this northern stretch of Spring Creek Road and basically accessing from Craft Road here, but deleting this piece of, so you wouldn't be going east of Spring Creek Road any more than he's already allowed to. And it would just replace access. So cutting that second piece out and just using his existing access, but formalizing that agreement.
Thank you for clarifying. We'll go to Councillor Bougie, and then I think Deputy Mayor Lang might have something to say.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and it would be nice to have him here to kind of understand why he'd want that dark purple running like east to west. Because to me, like going off Craft Road, it's already there. So just formalizing the agreement, and if that's staff's recommendation, I'm kind of leaning towards that way at the moment.
Okay, and I think if I understood Councillor McDonnell, well, he says instead of having, like, if he has that extension on the east side, he doesn't have to run the block, which means go down Spring Creek, go across Gore, go to Craft and come. He could go from field to field. That was, I think, probably it from an agricultural standpoint, taking Councillor McDonnell's words. Not on, yeah. Deputy Mayor Lang?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. So just to be clear, option B would eliminate I'd like to have both of them combined. That you formalize going out to Craft Road, keep option A though, and then, I mean, just, if I was farming that's a big block there, instead of having to go out, down Craft Road, down the Gore, back up, I'd like to be able to just get across and do all my properties. If I was farming it, it would be simpler, and I don't see any harm to the township. He's doing all the cost, and it just opens up a green road that allows people to use it. So that's what I would vote for, is that we have option A plus formalized out to Craft, which he's already using anyway. And there's no trees on that piece.
Okay, so Councillor McDonnell?
Sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. I thought we were proposing the purple. So, no, I would definitely go with what the Deputy Mayor said. Formalize the entire thing, and it might actually encourage the two landowners on that stretch to possibly access their property as well, or, like the Deputy Mayor said, to potentially have some kind of use for some locals around there, whether it was for recreational or whatever.
All right, so with the current rendition here, would we do, so we'd say option A seems to be at least 50% of council is interested in that. Do we need to enter, do I have to further amend this to have that, or can we come back, if we choose option A? Sorry, I just want to make sure we give proper direction.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think would you just approve option A, and then we can have another, would we have to bring them back for another agreement, or are you gonna? You're gonna have to amend the.
Would staff not be able to do that? Because there's no tree clearing going to take place on that little stretch, because there's no trees there now.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that the resolution is clear for you, so if a future council says, why do we do this? It's May 11th, 2026 is why. We can always come back with a vote option A and come back for a quick one another time to further extend it. Not that, I don't think that would get in the way of any of the work done too. Councillor Jaworski?
I guess my general approach is that trying to limit as much of is necessary, but kind of referring to a comment I made earlier, in this case, how do we limit how much encroachment of actual planting, et cetera, is done on the unopened road allowance?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, through you, Mr. Mayor, part of the agreement is we asked them to conduct a land survey and get an OLS, like a Ontario licensed land surveyor, to mark out the property line, so we can actually determine where it is, and it'll get staked out, and that's how we kind of ensure that they maintain like township's not paying for that. The landowner, because he wants to do the improvements, would pay for an OLS to do that. And then it'll give us a reference point, basically.
I suppose if I can follow up, just in case some of the intent wasn't asked or answered, would be if we obviously, if we allow it, obviously we want the access to be there. But if the access is granted to, say, the southern side of that, then the northern side of that road allowance is likely going to become field eventually, and we're probably never going to follow up once we do it, right? That might be the concern, because we don't want to go out and do it, so it's just like but that might be a caveat emptor, kind of a buyer beware type issue, you know, because we don't go and visit all our green roads. So more of a comment, I guess. Councillor McDonnell?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, you can amend it to encompass all that and get the agreement with, by putting east of Spring Creek Road to a limit of 1,180 meters. 180 meters. And 500 meters north of Spring Creek Road, south limit.
Okay, seems like a friendly amendment if we'd like to do it.
If you were to do it.
Councillor Jaworski, you look torn. So would we be good with, are we okay with that? I know that there was some conversation on having it come from Crafton, so that's kind of the two things. Everybody is okay with north. The debate or conversation, this vote will be on whether we have the full or the shortened amount. I've changed this amendment, the resolution to have the full one, so we will be voting on that, if that's okay. Do I need to move and seconder to make a friendly amendment like that? Okay, great. Okay, so I'll read option A again. It is, well, I don't need to, I guess. It's the purple up and then the purple all the way across and formalizing that. All those in favor of option A? Carried. So we will be moving to 8D, Regional Incentive Program Financial Agreement. Ms. Campo will be, or Mrs. Campo will be speaking to this, moved by Councillor Jaworski, seconded by Councillor McDonnell. Be it resolved that the staff report 2026-54 be received and that the corporation of the Township of South Glengarry enter into a regional incentive program financial agreement with Ora Wood Co. with a project site located at 18483 County Road 19, Williamstown, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign all relevant documents. Mrs. Campo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and if it's okay with you, I'll speak to this report and the next one as they're quite similar. Ms. Trevor didn't send her regrets today. She's feeling a little under the weather. So the report that's before you this evening is an agreement for the county's regional incentive program. So that, as you'll recall, is the program that they use to disperse funds for economic development projects through our CIP program. So the funds are coming directly from the counties. There's no cost to the township. However, because of the framework of the CIP and the funding model, the funds do flow through the township to the applicant. So there is a requirement for the township to be a party of the agreement. So there are two projects that have recently been approved through the Regional Incentives Program Committee at the counties. One being for the business Ora Wood Co. and the other for Wild Streak Farm. So we have two projects that were successful in South Glengarry, and the agreements this evening are simply a formality to finalize the funding agreement.
Are there any questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? Carried. So as Mrs. Campo stated, this next one is the other one, Regional Incentive Program for Wild Steak Farm. Moved by Councillor Bougie, seconded by Councillor Jaworski. Be it resolved that staff report 2026-55 be received and that the corporation of the Township of South Glengarry enter into a Regional Incentive Program financial agreement with Wild Steak Farm. Wild Streak. Yeah, sorry, Wild Streak Farm. Nice. I guess I'm hungry. I haven't had supper yet. Located at 19064 Connortown Road, Apple Hill, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign all relevant documents. It was spoken to before, so all in favor? Carried. Budget, 2026 budget and tax rates, so this is formalizing it. Ms. MacDonald did call and mention she apologizes for not being here, so we can defer it. It's somewhat formal and process, like I guess housekeeping item. So if anybody wishes to defer this, please let me know, and we can. But I'll read it anyway, so we can get that, or postpone it is probably the proper word. Moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang. Be it resolved that Staff Report 2026-56 be received, and that Bylaw 2026-36 being a bylaw to adopt the tax rates and final taxation installment and due dates for the year 2026 be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 11th day of May 2026. Are there any comments and questions, or if you want to postpone it? Okay. All those in favor? Carried. There were no items pulled from consent agenda. So moved by Councillor Jaworski, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang. Be it resolved that council accepts the items listed on the consent agenda. All those in favor? Carried. Committee updates. Are there any committees? We did have an RRCA meeting, so I can start, but if somebody wants to go first this time. Okay. So we talked about, there are some temporary restrictions for the RRCA as we go through the process of amalgamation there. We can't change governance. The org chart has to remain at the senior level, very rigid. We can't add land, goods and services. There's a certain threshold. There was a surplus at the RRCA, so that's following a year where there was a fairly large deficit, so that was nice to see that coming through. Congratulations to Martin, or Deputy Mayor Lang, on being part of the corporate services group. I think that helped there. There was, oh, that's a comment I had. That doesn't matter. There was an annual report presented, a conservation update as well, but our plans. There's a Lakeview Marsh is in Long Sault, or just east of Long Sault, where La Framboise is, north of the road, trying to carry that one through. The RRCA is also very good at getting grants, and they continue to do that. They had a report of the canoe race quickly. 22 did not start, 38 did not finish, and I contacted a friend of mine who went with his wife, and they're still together. So congratulations, because I don't know if I could survive that. Any other reports or committees? Okay. Confirming bylaw. Oh, sorry, Councillor Jaworski, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor McDonald. I just quickly wanted to call out to the rest of council, make sure that they're aware, remind them that the Environment Committee has a meeting next week on the 19th at 4:30, where we're meeting at the Beaver Brook landfill site to have an opportunity to look at all the good improvements that the staff have done to improve operations there. So hoping that other members of council can come to see.
Excellent, just in time for preparing us for large item pickup day. Councillor Bougie.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the Airport Commission meeting did meet last Tuesday to pass budget, and had some exciting news with lots of interest on hangars and future of potentially building a taxiway, or well, we had a couple options anyways. We didn't decide, but there was a lot of interest in hangars anyways, and it was good news, and lots of traffic at the airport as well. So I think Orange landed a couple times. We had a military helicopter land as well, and a private jet. So those were the kind of the highlights from the manager's report. So
Excellent, it continues to be used quite well. Deputy Mayor Lang.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do a report on it, but maybe it could be mentioned that the Heritage Committee had an open house. I don't know if maybe the clerk could kind of, I think the numbers were pretty good for an open house for us.
Please proceed.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, we had two public consultation sessions last Thursday for the proposed Heritage Conservation District in South Lancaster. We had about 42 people come through over the course of the two sessions, and had lots of great conversations, lots of interest on the files. So the Heritage Committee will be meeting on May 20th to receive all of the public feedback, and there should be a recommendation coming back to council shortly thereafter.
Thank you very much, and thanks for highlighting that. So I'll go to confirming bylaw if there's nothing. Moved by Counselor Bougie, seconded by Counselor Jaworski. Be resolved that bylaw 2026-35, being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 11th day of May, 2026. All those in favor? Carried. Adjournment, anything anybody want to highlight before leaving? Moved by Deputy Mayor Lang, seconded by Counselor Jaworski. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry adjourn to the call of the chair at 7:07 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. Have a good night, everyone, and thank you.